Hey guys, so yesterday we talked about how to solve quadratic equations by factoring and taking the square root. However, sometimes they're not always going to be in that form that we can do that with. Okay, and if they're not, then we're going to know how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. Okay, I love factoring and I love this way. You're just going to use all the factoring rules you learned the past week, okay, to solve for it. So, if a quadratic equation is already factored, you're going to set each solution to equal 0. And then you're going to solve for each x-intercept, root, or 0. Okay? So what that means is this is already factored. Okay? So I can split this up, set each one equal to 0, and then solve for x. Okay, so this is just a basic equation. Divide by 4. So I have x equals -1/4. Okay, but you also have to do this side too. And it's okay if it's not the same number. So x equals 2. So then, the solutions are the x-intercepts. Or the zeros, or -1/4 and 2. Okay, and that is my answer. Okay, that's all you do. Okay, you just split the two factors up, set it equal to 0, and then solve for x. And then those two are going to be your answers. Okay, let's do another one. X minus 9, x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, I want you to find the roots or the zeros or the x-intercepts of this. So I'm going to split these two apart and set both parts equal to 0 and then solve for x. And it's just a simple one-step equation. Okay, so I have x equals 9 and 8. And these are going to be my roots, my solutions, my zeros of this polynomial. Okay? So now I want you to try doing these following two. Again, the only reason why we can do it this way is because it's already factored. So try doing these. So go ahead, pause the video, and then come back for the solutions. Okay, welcome back. This is in factor form, so I'm going to break each apart and set it equal to 0. And then solve for x. Okay. Add 2 to both sides. 7x equals 2. Divide by 7. On both sides, x equals 2/7. And what did I do wrong here? What was the mistake that I made? I became too confident and I made a mistake. Okay, so I added 2. Okay, I have to do the inverse, which is minus. That should be -2. Okay, so it's -2/7. Again, with these may look really easy, and a lot of you are going to be overly confident, but I'm telling you to watch out for your mistakes, okay? Because you can make them, like I just did. A math major that teaches this for a living made a mistake, okay? It happens. Just be careful. So over here, I'm going to do the inverse of -4, which is adding 4. 0 plus 4 is 4. Divide both sides by 5. I get x equals 4/5. So my answers, I'm going to have 2 solutions, 2 roots, 2 zeros. It's going to be -2/7 and 4/5. Okay. So this next one is a little different, which is okay. You had to take apart each part. So you're going to take this part out and then this part and set each one equal to 0. Okay, this is already solved for you, so all you have to do is this one over here. You have x equals -2, so my solutions is x equals 0 and x equals -2. Okay, and those are going to be my solutions. Okay, so again, if they're already factored, you just break each piece apart, set it equal to 0, and you solve. Okay. Sometimes you're not going to get equations that are already in factored form. Okay, if that does not happen, okay, you must use the rules of factoring polynomials / quadratics in order to solve each quadratic equation. Okay, and you're always going to set the equations equal to what? Equal to 0. Okay, so let's do example. We're just adding one extra step. And they want me to find the solutions or the zeros or the roots of this. Okay, I'm going to first set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to factor it. Okay. So this is x squared. I do not have a leading coefficient, so I'm just going to take my c, write out the factors. I have 1 and 15. I have -1, -15. I have 3 and 5. I have -3 and -5. So which one of these add up to 8? It's going to be 3 and 5. So in my parentheses, I'm going to have x plus 3, x plus 5 equals 0. And then you're going to do what we've been doing in the above problems. You're going to split this up, set it equal to 0, and solve for x. I have x equals -3, x equals -5. So my solutions or my roots are going to be x equals -3 and x equals -5. So I'm going to have two solutions. Okay, so you're doing it exactly the same. Okay, but if it's not in factor form, you have to first factor it, then split it up and solve for x. Okay. Let's do another one. Okay, so the first thing is, can I factor out a GCF? I cannot. Okay, so I'm going to factor it first. And it will tell you if it wants you to factor it or find the solutions. But they want us to find a solution, so we do have to factor in order to find the solutions. Okay? So I'm going to do 2 times -36 is going to give me -72. Okay, I'm going to list all the factors, but to save you time, 24, -3. Okay, if I add those together, I'm going to get -21. So I'm going to rewrite this, split that up. I'm going to have plus 24x minus 3x. Minus 36 equals 0. Split it in half. Factor out the GCF of here. So I can pull out a 2 and an x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X squared divided by x is just x. 24x divided by 2x is going to give me plus 2. 12. Okay. Over here, I'm going to bring out a -3. -3 divided by -3 is 1. So I'm left with an x. Okay, and then -36 divided by -3 is going to give me a positive 12. Okay, so this stays in, and then my two outside ones. So that's going to be 2x minus 3. So I'm not done because they want me to find the solutions. So I need to take each one and set it equal to 0. Okay, and then solve for x. So I have x equals 3/2 and x equals -12. So my solutions is 3/2 and -12. Okay? So again, you're just factoring it normally like you would, like we learned last week. Then you're taking your two factor forms, splitting it up, setting it equal to 0, solve for x, and you will get your solutions. So I want you to try doing these two. Let me do that one. We did not, so we're fine. Okay, and then I want you to do this one. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, and then when you come back, we'll go over this. Okay, welcome back. So let's go over one. Okay, they want me to find solutions. It is equal to 0, so we can factor it. Okay, I don't have a leading coefficient, so I'm going to take this term, -32. I'm going to list my factors. Okay, which one of these will add up to give me my middle term? -4 and 8. So I'm going to have x minus 4, and then I'm going to have x plus 8 because the 8 is positive. They want me to find the solutions or the zeros, so I am going to set each one equal to 0, and then solve for x. Okay, so my answer is 4 and -8. Okay, and that is my answer. Okay, this next one, again, is set is equal to 0. So we're going to factor this one. 3 times -14 is going to be -42. Find two factors whose sum gives me 1, and that's going to be 7 and -6. So I'm going to split these two up, keep my outsides. Split in the middle, factor out my GCF. Okay, again, we know we did it correctly because these two are the same. My two outside terms go together, and my insides. So now we have a factor polynomial, so we're going to set each one equal to 0 and then solve for x. So x equals -7/3, and x is going to be equal to 2. Okay, and that is my answer. Okay. So again, the only extra step that is new to you is just setting each one equal to 0 and then solving the basic equation. Okay, so they're not going to be too hard of equations. Okay, they're always going to be that simple and easy. Okay, the hardest part is just factoring. Okay, however, if I have a problem like this, okay, that we cannot do anything until it is equal to what? Until it's equal to 0. So we must set the equation equal to 0. So to do that, before we can factor it, before we can do anything, we need to make this 0. And how do we make this 0? We have to subtract 21 from both sides. Okay, there's nothing over here I can combine this negative 21 by, so I'm just going to set it beside it. And then 21 minus 21 is 0. So now we can do it like we normally would. Okay, we're going to factor. So what two factors of negative 21 when added together would give me negative 4? Okay. So negative 7 and 3 is going to give me negative 4. Again, if you don't know that off the top of your head, you may need to list every single one of them. Okay, but if you're very good with multiplication facts and you just know, then you don't have to write all that. Okay, again, what I used to do when I was in college and high school, I would just guess and check. Okay, or you can do all of them. That is up to you. So I'm going to have x minus 7 since the 7 is negative, then x plus 3 since the 3 is positive. Set each one equal to 0 and solve for x. So x is going to be 7 and x is going to be negative 3. Okay. So I want you to try this one. And this will be the last one we do today. Okay, so pause the video, do this one, and then we'll go over the answers. Okay, we're going to come back. So they want me to find the solutions to this. The first thing I need to do is make sure it's equal to 0. Is it equal to 0? No, so we have to make it equal to 0. So if this is negative 12, what do we need to do to make this side negative? We need to add 12. So I have 0, which is what we want, and I have 2x squared minus 11x plus 12. Hey, can I factor out a GCF? No. So we're going to do it like we would when we have a coefficient. Okay, 2 times 12 is going to give me 24. Find two factors whose sum gives me negative 11. So I know I'm going to have two negatives. So I'm going to have a negative 8 and a negative 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, the negative 8 plus negative 3 is going to give me what I need, my middle term. Okay, I'm going to put this into 4 terms. And we're splitting up that middle one. Split down the middle, factor out the GCF. Okay, and then I have 2x minus 3. And I have x minus 4 equals 0. Split that up. Set both sides equal to 0. So 2x minus 3 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. Solve for x. So x equals 3/2. X equals 4. Okay? And then those are going to be my answers. Okay, if you have any questions on this, please let me know. I know this was a longer video than what you're used to. Okay, I'm only giving you like 3 problems to do today, and then when we come back Monday, we will have extra problems to work on, and we're going to practice this Monday. Okay, y'all have a good day.